Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Game Bros Station for another episode of Game Bros Cast. And Matt's here.
Hello, everyone.
I'm here. Hello, me.
Hello, Mark.
And Jared got eaten by vampires.
Oh.
But before we talk about his bloody death and, the fun, bloody stuff we saw on Netflix, just a quick reminder, for $1 a month, you can support us on Patreon /Game Bros Station. It really helps. And now that we've shilled, let's bathe in the blood of Castlevania. Blah.
Season 2.
Two seasons.
2 seasons.
Twice the episodes. Oh, God.
Of course we had to go there.
Yeah, of course we did. We didn't go Hotel Transylvania. So
I did temporarily, but you took in a bad direction. Anyway.
I took the high ground on this one.
You have the high ground.
So, ladies and gentlemen, Matt and I are here to review Castlevania Season 2, the follow-up to the hit Netflix animated adaptation of the hit Konami video game series that Konami's not really doing anything with, short of making pachinko machines. Castlevania! Starting all the way back on the NES with Belmonts whipping vampires and kicking butts and taking names.
Simon Belmont, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, but we're not here to talk about Simon. We're talking about Trevor.
It's always about Trevor.
Trevor.
Treffy.
Yeah, little Treffy. So following up where we kind of abruptly ended in Season 1 to a degree, a lot of people, I think, felt that way. Season 1.
Yeah, what's funny is prior to the Season 2 review that you and I were doing, I've never seen the first season, so I watched it day before Season 2 dropped, so...
Yeah, and I saw it when it first premiered, so you and I have really different...
Yeah, because I saw it more as a complete story within itself.
Which I think helps, actually. Yeah.
Which I can see why your anguish might come from that.
I'm so angsty, like Castlevania. No. So, well, we get started again. The trio has teamed up. We're getting ready to go. And instead of focusing us on them, we get introduced to Dracula's forces. A whole cornucopia of vampires of different cultures across the globe. But we're not here to talk about them. We're here to talk about Godbrand.
Godbrand!
The Viking!
I'm a fucking Viking!
I like boats. He literally pretty much says pretty much that. That's not even us being offensive.
Yeah.
And Dracula seems to be rather, despite all the fire and brimstone we kind of saw in Season 1 and, everything, he kind of seems now much more dejected and a lot more directionless.
Defeated. He feels defeated. He feels alone.
Like he's definitely in the next stage of grief, at the very least.
Yeah, he's at the very forefront end.
But in addition to the vampires from all around the world who we don't care about because they don't say anything except Godbrand. And Camellia, who shows up. But she didn't show up yet, Matt. We got to tell it in order.
Oh, no.
We get introduced to the Forge Masters, Isaac and Hector. 2 humans who have been recruited by Dracula because they hate humanity to raise armies of demons and
nice beasts
from the corpses of their enemies, which is pretty cool. Hector likes to just kind of bring back pets, though. That's kind of Hector's thing.
Yeah.
He also likes to message us during it.
Yeah, apparently I got a message from Jared. He's with the Forge Master now being revived. So that's
cool.
Good to hear.
Then he'll be back next time we review something. You heard it here first.
There you go. Anyway, carry on, Mark.
So then Camilla shows up, and she's also from the video games. I should mention at this point, sadly, Godbrand I don't believe is from the video games, or at least from what I remember. But Camilla, Isaac, and Hector are all characters from the video games, so we're really kind of getting a good scope of characters people are kind of familiar with.
Yeah.
And
quick disclaimer, folks, I've not played a single Castlevania game, so I have no context for any of this.
I've played a fair amount of them. I confess I haven't played all of them, especially that weird, kid Dracula one.
Yeah, it doesn't really look like my cup of tea, so that's why
it's not from everyone.
But anyway.
Exactly. And so, our trio goes to the crypt of Belmont to uncover all their ancient lore and all this stuff to help them more soundly defeat Dracula, which is really cool and actually pretty impressive. And, Alucard and Hector.
Oh, okay.
Hector. No, not Sypha.
Sorry, I got the names.
Don't really get along very well.
Yeah.
One's, a little more, I say a little more, and I really kind of mean that, a little more proper, and the other one's still our lovable drunk.
Yeah.
And they're kind of doing that, but it's really weird in terms of pacing because we spend a lot more time with the vampires instead of our main characters.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think that was one of my first things I noticed. I was like, wait, I thought this was Trevor Belmont's story beating like find Dracula. It's like, no, actually, it's way more Dracula's story than anything.
It's way more Isaac and the Forge Master's story after a while. Not Isaac is a Forge Master. Camilla and the Forge Masters.
Yeah.
For a good part of it, especially in the beginning. It's kind of a slow build, I think, in the beginning, but it's ultimately pretty good. Camilla's kind of seducing Hector to the darker side of the vampire horde in order to overthrow Dracula because, according to him, he's just a crazy old man, and having, overthrown her original vampire master, who was just a crazy old man, she just vowed never again to go down this road.
Yeah, she really hates guys. Much.
She really hates crazy old men, and Dracula kind of is behaving a bit like a crazy old man.
He is. I think that's the whole point where you're like, okay, what is the plan? Everyone's asking, what's the plan? And Dracula's like, as long as they all die, I don't care. And it's like everyone's trying to figure out, okay, well, where do we go? Where to go? We could do this and we could do that. And I think it was very much just Dracula's story, just dealing with the death of his wife by the hands of a lunatic.
By the hands of a crazy lunatic.
And he went off the deep end. He committed to doing this genocide. But as time goes on, he's like, becomes detached to almost anything he's doing.
All right. In fact, speaking of crazy guy, the priest responsible for all this madness in the first place does kind of come back a little bit as a zombie.
Yeah.
And that was I don't know, I actually thought that was kind of fun.
It was kind of a weird comeuppance for him, besides like when he was first approached in the cathedral in Graysht.
Yeah, I loved that scene. That was a good scene in season 1.
Yeah, no, it was great. And what's funny is when I started watching season 2, I didn't realize the bishop was played by Matt Frewer.
No, yeah.
And I was like, damn, the Cat in the Hat guy, the guy from Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, and Pestilence from Supernatural? What? No,
there's a pretty good cast on this series, I must say.
Yeah.
But,
anyway,
eventually, the forces of Dracula storm the stronghold of Belmont, and they fight them off in a pretty cool way. But I must say, soundtrack in this fight scene was really subdued for how action-packed it was.
Yeah.
And Sypha manages to, using mirror, there's a lot of mirrors in this season, to actually anchor down Castlevania on top of the Belmont hold. So things are really coming to clash and everything, which interrupts Camilla's coup of Dracula in a pretty fun way. The castle just goes haywire and starts boom, boom, boom all over this city because it's just trying to resist Sypha's magic. And ultimately, we do get our showdown between the 3 heroes and Dracula after the remaining of Camilla's forces are depleted. And you really liked this fight scene, Matt, between the 3 of them and Dracula.
Oh, yeah, the final scene between those guys. I really enjoyed that in terms of just, like, knowing the scale between Dracula and the 3 other characters. Obviously, what I found funny about season 1 when Belmont was fighting Alucard is, in my mind, originally, I felt like that Alucard was kind of like a mix between Sephiroth and Sasuke. He was fine, just with like floating sword and like the long hair and the elegance of it.
Pretty boy.
I know, that's what it struck me as a little bit there. So I was like, that's fine. So in the final fight with Dracula, it was kind of interesting to see how these 3 different class warriors, if you will, went up against this guy who, at the beginning of the series, when I started watching, I was like, this guy is practically a god. He's like Apocalypse or something.
No, he really is. And in the fight, he really shows that because really, their attacks individually, not even phasing him.
Yeah, I have one of my favorite moments, and it's a very simple moment, is where Beaumont gets right up in Dracula's face, starts punching him, and he's not even moving. You hear the little pat noises, and Dracula does one punch, and you hear this loud, and I was like, damn.
I was like, oh, Trevor dead.
And then I remember the big fireball that they teamed up to like push back, and after it did its damage on the castle, I was like, damn.
Maybe this video game adaptation proved how much video games I play. But like when they were pushing back the fireball, a part of me could actually see like the quick time command button.
Mash X,
mash triangle button.
Not circle, not X, not triangle.
Yeah, in your face, Dracula. But ultimately, in actually one of my favorite scenes in season 2, at the end of this fight, what does Dracula in? And it's actually an interesting thing they do at the castle. The castle feels much more like a castle than I think in the video games, where it's much more, okay, it's a level. It's like no one actually lives, especially in the old games. Like you look at Castlevania, like no one lives here. This is a video game level.
Just levels.
But the fight ultimately climaxes in Alucard's childhood bedroom. and it just breaks Dracula.
It does. He's like, I'm killing my son. Why am I doing?
And I loved that scene. Actually,
I did
thought
too.
That was it was an amazing scene. It was so well done in every way, because it's also just, you look at it, you're like, wow, he like this is like a room that's like, he locked this room away.
Yeah.
Like this room was like, you see the horde going around the castle and everything. This room was just untouched.
It was sealed practically.
Practically. And oh God, spoiler alert, Alucard's the one who ultimately does him in, not Trevor, by staking him with I believe it was a bedpost.
Yeah, bedpost through his heart.
And that's a gut-wrenching scene, because, he's wrenching out, he's like stabbing him through an organ, of course, but like, I don't know, I felt some real emotional.
Yeah.
You could feel the weight of the scene.
I think so too. And even with like how the season ends on Alucard, it's like,
yeah,
I'm sure he's full of regret and mourning of the loss of both his parents. So,
which does kind of, if I may, now that we've kind of summarized very vaguely, the thing, we don't want to spoil it too much, but this is, kind of a spoiler review. I mean, and I think any review really is,
pretty
quite
much,
honestly.
if we do a season review.
If we're doing a season review, come on, folks. But a part of me that, like we mentioned it a little bit earlier, the season kind of feels a little unbalanced in terms of who we're focusing on.
I agree.
Like, I know technically you could say, well, we already focused on, Trevor and Sypha in season 1, which was really almost more like a prologue, especially when you compare it to season 2.
Yeah.
But like, in terms of their relationship with Alucard, and even Alucard, I felt like I would have loved to have had more time with you to make this scene that already works really well towards the end of this series just have such more payoff.
Yeah, I think that's my general complaint about the show overall, is that I like the direction that they're going with some of these characters, especially at the end of certain things. But I feel like we just needed a couple scenes to kind of fortify that kind of relationship between these characters, because you and I mentioned real quickly off cam that
off mic,
I kind of like how like Camille was kind of like downplaying Godbrand, saying like he's violent, he's whatever, he fucks whatever he can, yada yada.
Oh, spoiler alert for this series, F-bombs all over the place,
used well in my opinion. They don't like throw it out like South Park crazy, but they use it in
There were some times where I thought it got a little gratuitous, but that's just taste.
I don't know. I kind of disagree there, but...
Well, you're just such a potty mouth.
I am. Fuck you.
Flush.
But anyway, yeah, I mean, they said that he was kind of like a slut in a way, but throughout the scenes that he was on, he was more violent and brash than anything, but he didn't actually like flirt with any of the other female vampires or anything like that. So
no,
I kind of felt like that was thrown in there, maybe just for insult or something. But anyway, long story short, again with Sypha and Alucard and Trevor, all those guys, like, I think the relationships could have been built better if we just had a couple of moments with them. Doesn't have to be a key plot moment, but maybe like a light moment. Some more interactions, things like that, even with like Dracula and the others. I feel like we could have more of that.
Because it's also a little weird, because like I said, at least from where I'm standing, I think you kind of agree with me, it seemed to focus much more on Dracula's horde than our heroes.
Yeah.
But then, like we said with the vampires, the other vampire generals, like really Camilla and then Godbrand are the only ones who actually really a line of dialogue. So it's almost weird.
Yeah,
you're focusing on Dracula's horde, but then this other section within Dracula's horde. It's because
we didn't get to know the other generals.
The other generals, design-wise, look fantastic and look very interesting.
Yeah,
but nothing, because there's this one vampire general. He's a bald gentleman, but he has this beard. And as like he really looks like, the way the story's presenting it, like he's Camilla's like second in command, and like you see him, he's like doing all this important stuff. I keep saying like, is he going to say something?
Yeah.
Is he going to say something? He doesn't say anything. None of these vampires talk.
Yeah, no, a lot of them didn't. I mean, the Japanese one didn't talk.
The Japanese one was so cool with the mist and everything.
Cool. It was also funny during like the raid that Godbrand had the generals go on when they were deprived of blood. I remember when she attacked this mother and child, her eyes turned black and did that whole Japanese ghost thing on them. I was like,
like it was really cool, because like whether or not we call them all, quote unquote vampires, across a lot of cultures, there are these creatures and monsters who certainly have very similar characteristics to the
vampiric
European
natures.
vampires.
Yes.
Yeah, whether or not we say like, oh, they're all vampires, quote, if that's offensive or whatever, I don't know. But like, we identify them as like the vampiric traits.
Yeah.
Like it's almost like dragons, where it's like, despite cultures that have never, interacted with each other way back when, they all have histories of these like giant lizard powerful creatures and stuff. Like, it's really interesting. And I would have liked to, if they were going to show us the world of vampires through the Horde, I would have really liked to have seen some of that.
I agree. So yeah, like I said, I think there were some things that were missing, some things that worked well. I was going to say real quick, the one thing I do like about this, and it's no secret to you, and probably no secret to those who follow the channel for a while, I am not a big fan of anime. I couldn't care for it. I don't like the tropes and all that stuff. That's my personal preference and opinion. And what I think I liked about this Castlevania is, obviously, it was Western produced. I don't know if it was American, Canadian, or European produced.
It was a real hybrid, because Frederator is involved.
Yes,
with a bunch of other studios.
And what I liked about this is that I was kind of glad they didn't really do any anime tropes that I could recognize in terms of like character things that I come to detest.
No, this is way more a metal album cover than it is anime.
What I think I liked about it, and don't quote me on this, guys, but I feel like the way this show's style is, not talking about the animation per se, but the style, is it really reminds me of a graphic novel artist style. In vein, not saying particularly because I know he's very different, but in the time frame of Frank Miller graphic novel style.
It has that dark, edgy.
Yeah, dark, edgy, maybe like a little bit of the 80s.
80s, 70s thrown in there, getting real crazy.
Yeah, because like I said, I really like some of the character designs, like the way they look. And they don't really go off model or anything like that.
No.
I find that endearing, to be honest.
No, yeah, I think that is definitely one of his strengths. I'm a little more critical of this season than Matt.
Yeah.
A part of me, I know it's too silly, because let's be honest, the first Castlevania game, the very first one, it's kind of like, this is something Metroid fans, whoa.
Oh, no.
I upset Dracula. It's something that Metroid fans admit, too. Like, the original Castlevania was very much, if Metroid is the video game company kind of really based this off the Alien franchise, the original Castlevania game, you can really go, okay, so they really wanted to make a Universal monster movie game, because there's Dracula, there's Frankenstein, there's Mummy, and all these things, flying Medusa heads, Wolfman. And
I love the Medusa head Easter egg in the library. I
didn't see that.
I spotted it. I was looking all
I'm so mad, because I actually would have liked a lot more of that.
I was actually hoping there'd be like a chicken in the wall joke in there somewhere.
Oh, that's when he gets the chain whip.
Yeah, the Morning Star.
The Morning Star. It was like, I was waiting for him to open that. I was waiting for there to be a chicken in there.
I was
or
too.
like the skeleton of a chicken or something. I was like, oh God, we're going to do a wall chicken. But I kind of would have liked some of that. A little more monsters as opposed to the night creatures, the hellspawn thing. But like...
Yeah, this was very much, and again, I have no context for it, Symphony of the Night style.
No, yeah, it very much was. But also, I think, for me, when you have a series called Castlevania, I want to see some people going through the castle, kind of. And we don't quite get that.
As an outsider looking in, I actually do think the name Castlevania is kind of dumb. I don't like the title of this.
No.
And because I don't know if it's the Ania part, because every time I see the word Ania, I think of like hijinks and fun to be had.
You're thinking like Mania.
Yeah, exactly, Mania. And Castlevania is like, oh, it's a crazy adventure inside a castle. It's like, no, you just...
Well, no, it's supposed to be Castle National Transylvania.
Could have just called it like Dracula and the Belmonts or something. I don't know. Or you could have called it Dracula's Castle. I don't know.
I would have liked some more fighting in the actual castle with all the gears and everything you could have done. And speaking of kind of like, the Universal monsters not being in here, I kept waiting, especially in the last episode, where they're really, let's be honest, they're doing the longest like post-credit trailer for season 3.
It's an aftermath episode.
It's an aftermath episode. And even Trevor Belmont's voice actor, he mentioned they were doing season 3. It hasn't been confirmed yet, though, at the time of this recording.
Yeah.
I kept expecting, because he's such a big character in terms of Dracula, and that the resurrection of Dracula is probably going to be in there, just with how things are set up with Isaac and Hector right now. I kept expecting to see Death show up towards the end as someone who, in the games, is Dracula's right-hand, subordinate and everything, and responsible for a lot of it.
I wonder, now that you bring that up, I wonder if either Isaac or Hector will become Death.
In the games, they don't.
Well, no, I'm not. See, because that's the other. And again, I don't know if I mentioned this in our review already. I know we're running a little overtime here.
Yeah.
But I think one of the main reasons why I like this, so much versus like the games, even though I have no context with the game, is I feel like the show is very much like the MCU version of Castlevania, where they didn't do one storyline beat by beat by beat, but took some things from the source material and made their own story that worked. That's what I felt like with Castlevania.
No, yeah. And so that's very fair.
They could do something like that. The MCU has done things like that, where they took a character who normally is not something, but became that.
I think I would like now. I think my thing is that I would like to see now things get really crazy with some of the other things they're introducing, especially if they introduce the Forge Masters, which is a really kind of offset thing, I think, in the Castlevania fan community. I think that was a surprise to see that Isaac and Hector in it.
Well, it makes sense for the stories.
No, it does, but I mean, like that was really cherry picking then.
Yeah,
but
again, they chose what they think would work best for the story. So
no, yeah, and well, I think that just about wraps it up for us. Quite honestly, Matt, you really liked it. I would have liked to seen some things differently, but I think I enjoyed it well enough overall.
Yeah, I binged the whole thing versus what Mark did. So
yeah,
that's to be expected.
Like, would you say if Trevor Belmont's production prediction is true, would you be interested in season 3?
Oh hell yeah! No, I there was an old friend of mine, Steven, who I told him right off the bat, dude, fuck Castlevania the video games. Give me more of the show, please.
Okay, well,
I had fun with it. I like the action. I like the art style. The story is pretty simple for me to follow, and I had fun with it, man. I wanted to see more. Also, real quick, this made me want a Bloodborne animated series. Ooh. Or just something, because like when I saw the castle and all the monsters and the blood, not overly gory, by the way, which I was happy about that, I would love to see an animated Bloodborne of...
That could get pretty crazy.
That'd be fucking cool to watch.
Well, I think I'm interested in season 3. I don't know if I necessarily want it as much as I wanted it before season 2, but I think I still want it. I think I'd like to see where they're going, especially in a little bit more of the even crazier stuff from the games. But yeah, let us know what you guys think in the comments section below. Like, comment, subscribe, all that diddly do. What did you like Castlevania season 1 more than season 2? Did you like Godbrand? Did you like
That's
Godbrand? That's the important thing here.
Oh, let me get this off my chest real quick, just to see if anyone else had a moment like this. Did you have any one of those like random laughter moments for you watching the series? Because I had 2.
Ooh, well, tell me.
The first one, season 1, when I was watching it, when the Night Beast first came to the city where White burned.
Yeah.
They were like killing all people. It's like, okay, they're slicing people, doing all that. Then this one beast opens his mouth, fireball comes out and blows up a house. I lost my shit there. I was like, what? I thought you guys were just like slashing and they just I was like, excuse me, what? Yeah. And the second one, I think it was in season 2, was when we see Dracula's castle teleport to the Alps-like area, and you see the way from the teleport, and then the shockwave happens, and for a split second, you see all the skin and shit. Like,
yeah, it's like that shot, like you see like the old nuclear bomb thing where it's just like the skin, the bones, and everything just gets ripped off.
I was like, what the hell?
That's the power of Castlevania.
Those were my 2 moments where I just laughed.
Clearly, I thought this was like a horror video game. You thought it was a comedy.
I thought it was way more of a comedy.
But yeah, tell us what you folks thought in the comments. Have fun. Are you excited for season 3? What do you want them to cover from season 3 or from the video games as a whole?
I'm going to place a bet and say maybe we'll get Frankenstein's monster.
The creature. I'd actually like it since the Frankenstein monster in the games looks very much just like the universal cliche one. I'd like it if they pulled more from the Mary Shelley novel, because I think that would fit better with the Castlevania look in this.
That or the Japanese Frankenstein monster films that they made. That'd be kind of an interesting take as well.
Interesting. Well, everybody, Jared's not here, so I'll say it. To be continued. Blah.